Debt is not measured by how much you owe, but by how well you can manage what you owe. Nigeria's debt profile continues to spark debate, but beyond the headline figures lies a more complex story of exchange rate adjustment, inherited liabilities, refinancing, and fiscal sustainability. Are the numbers telling the whole story, or are they being misunderstood? Today on Politics Explained, we move beyond the statistics to examine what Nigeria's debt profile really means for the economy and for everyday Nigerians. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. And joining me this afternoon is Professor Godwin Emmanuel Yedoko, a forensic accountant and professor of accounting and financial development at Lee City University, whose expertise in public finance, taxation, and fiscal policy will help us unpack the facts behind the figures. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you, Yemi, for having me, and I greet all Nigerians, especially my people in Oyo State, here in Ibadan.
Exactly. So let's start this way, Professor. There's been widespread debate over Nigeria's debt profile from an accounting perspective. What is the true state of Nigeria's public debt?
Okay, so I think what we're discussing here is beyond the numbers. All the numbers are confusing, and if you listen to what the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy said like 2 days ago, it's already online, and he was trying to educate, if I'm permitted to use this, educate the senators when he was called for public hearing on the budget, that most of the figures out there are really not what people think should take home as figures. The public debt is into two categories: one, external and internal. So when we talk about external debt, we are talking about debt that the country is owing to other, I don't want to say other people, that's a very local language, other institutions or countries outside our jurisdiction. And why the internal debt, which is part of public debt, is those kind of debt that we have within the shore of our country, like government borrowing from institutions or through treasury bill, FGM bond, sukuk, and the likes. Those are within Nigeria, and there's a reason why we do that, because it won't expose Nigeria to unnecessary debt burden other than within us, and we can always do our shenanigans within the house to ensure that we are out of that problem. But the one that people really usually shout about, and permit me to also use that word, is the one that we are owing IMF, development banks, other countries, and the like. So public debt is just in that two categories. And as a teacher and as a professional, I may want to go further to explain why there is what we call good public debt and bad public debt.
Okay, now, so how come we are owing so much in 2026? Because a lot of Nigerians, they think that, there was a time that this country was owing about 75 trillion naira before this administration came in. Do you agree with that figure?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I've not been in the corridor of such power. But one of our colleagues, who is also senior in our profession, we did just mention within the last 3 days that those figures that you are reading out there are not the figure you are supposed to be reading. And he promised that within the space of time, they are going to release actual debt. So if anybody comes to any TV station mentioning figure, that person is not supposed to be in that kind of seat. Because the people in charge says, give us some time, we will reel out the figures. Because figures out there, they can't trust it. And he gave some explanation in which, because it's our field, so we're able to follow up with those figures. And personally, as a teacher, as a professor, and as a practitioner, I also have my own opinion about that. As we join in this conversation, I will be able to reveal that.
Okay, I would love us to watch a video, because one of the senators, Senator Alero, now imagine if a senator cannot understand what is going on, with the money. So what about ordinary Nigerians, who are on the street? You've seen the video, but then for the sake of people who are going to watch this video or who have joined us, currently, let's take a look at the video, please.
Borrowing, and this borrowing is of serious concern to Nigerians. What I'm saying is in the public domain, is not anything hidden. When this government came in, it inherited I think, over 75 trillion naira. Now it has added almost 75 to 80 trillion naira in borrowing. And despite this, budget implementation is nowhere where we want it to be, as said by the Chief Whip of the Senate. We have not even started implementing the 2026 budget. We have seen...
Professor, welcome back from that video. Is it okay to draft a budget that we cannot afford?
Okay, so because I've never been appointed by government and I'm not working for government, so whatever I'm saying here, I'm saying it as a professional who has his own mind. Yes, you are right with what you just said, but you know, in Nigeria, the more you look, the less you see. That's on one side. On another side, even in our house, in my home, event just occur now that I realize that my budget will not work and I have to change plan. And if I'm talking and people that will not politicize what we are saying should calm down and listen. In this year, I budget that I will change my car. I budget that I will take my children out. But my revenue profile is not increasing, it's stable, but expenditure profile is coming up more. Things happen which are force majeure that are not within my control. Will I be able to achieve that budget that I wanted to execute? The answer is no. And if this video that you are trying to give to us is anything to go by, the extension of it is saying, why do we have agency of government in charge of revenue saying that they have achieved their budget and surpassed it, yet we are borrowing? I think we'll get there later, right? So that explanation the Minister of Finance also gave, but the truth of the matter is that, left for me, you called me the other time, I said I wasn't in the country. But why will I go for that kind of trip and I will spend just 2-3 days and I come back? It's because I cannot afford to extend my expenditure profile. So I budgeted that I will spend 2 weeks. I spent 5 days. So if you cannot, you have to come down on it. I'm not speaking for them. I'm speaking for myself. And I want to also believe that you hear me? You have a lot of things that you promise yourself this year, January 1, in the church or in the mosque, that is what I want this year. This is now semi-August. We've not achieved it. That's like budget. So what will you do? You leave it for other period. That's just the same thing. So you want to now ask me, why will governments say they want to achieve and they don't? They will not if there's no resources to back it up. That's just the simple answer. I am not leaving out the constant thing, which is corruption, fraudulent activities is one side. But let's just talk about it. I want to do this, I want to do that because I'm expecting XYZ. If XYZ will not come or will not come in full, that means that income is not crystallizing. It will distort my budget, because budget is based on assumptions. If those assumptions will not stand, your budget is affected.
Okay, another question to you now is, in 1974, Nigeria signed a borrowing agreement with World Bank and we released about $240 million to World Bank. And even in 1975, we released about $120 million to IMF. So for a country like Nigeria that used to borrow these people money, I mean these international organizations, how did we get here? Okay,
so that period of time, if I'm alive, I will have been a very small boy. In that period of time, how many in terms of population of Nigeria? What's the size of government? How many number of states do we have during that period of time? So if I will paint scenario as a case study man. If I have my size of family 4, myself, my wife, my 2 children, 4. Abi, is that not 4?
Yes.
And I have the same level of income I have today, compared to if my size of family is 11 like my parents did, will that same level of income suffice enough to take care of the 11 children? Now don't forget that even in parents and family or cultural way, some people are giving birth on your neck. That's Yoruba English. That is, they will say, "Omo yin ti bimo." That is, please, my own child in their own house want to do wedding, bring money. So also, the level of insecurity that we have then, is it the same now? Are we spending much on defense the way we are spending? Was there anything like that during that period? That was why one of the so-called elders then said the problem of Nigeria was not money, how to spend it, because they don't know where to spend it, so they can let it out. If I have enough money in my pocket, that's when my head, like Yoruba people will say, "Oh mama wu," then I'll be able to say, "Oh, I see this person on the road, get 500. But if I'm hungry, I will not be able to do that. So I will go and borrow if I don't have. But if I have, I will go and lend it out. So don't let us mystify things. What was the population in 1974? Which I know majority of us in this studio have been.
Is population not supposed to be a blessing?
It's supposed to be a blessing if those that are increasing those population are also increasing it with wisdom. You give back to 100 children and you put it on the neck of government. I give back to just 2. Who is more intelligent within that? So if you give back, I don't want to go into it because it's volatile. But if your population is creating suppression into the system, it's not making sense. You won't give back now, your children will be begging on the road like other people are doing. So when they are capturing out of school, your children are not part, my children will never be part of the population that they are counting as out of school. It's the children of those that are giving birth and they could not take care of it, that their children are out of school. So population could be a blessing if the population is working and the output is making sense. Now, that of population are the one that couldn't do anything than to be carrying gun, carrying arms. So that is another set of population. And I want to believe.
Whose fault is that? I mean, is the environment conducive enough for people to actually do certain things with their lives?
I know the popular answer everybody want me to say is government's fault, but I will not go that route.
So whose fault?
I'll just mention it. When I was planning my life, I planned my life that I will not koja me. I will not pass my boundary. I don't have means. I can, at my age, I can still continue to give birth. At my age, I can I can carry gun if I want to. But I don't want to do that. So if you are saying the condition is not conducive, this studio is not like other studio of government studio. I've been to the studio almost every week. So some studio you can't even pass there. Whose fault? Is it government fault? So if you cannot do things, don't go into it. If it is blessing that you must marry, but give back to those that you can take care of.
Okay. Another question to you this afternoon is, from your assessment over the years, do you think we are making good use of the money we are borrowing, at least in the last 3 years?
Okay, so the factor that I mentioned the other time is that if you remove corruption and fraudulent activities, then borrowing shouldn't be a cost to us. And I want us to actually look at the last 3 years that you are talking about. I'm not part of this government, and I'm saying it, but look at the nature of the environment within the last 3 years and compare it with what we used to have. It took previous governments so many years to do the needful on Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. You know what we faced. But I want to tell you now that within the last 3 years, you see multiple roads going on. Where are they getting the money from? You say, yes, there are 2 major sources of revenue for government: oil and non-oil. Oil means the royalty, the barrels of crude oil they sold, and the other one is non-oil, whereby in these non-oil revenue sources, that's where we have taxation, all those payments you pay to government, fines and everyone. But among the non-oil, taxation is the most veritable tools. So let's just take oil and taxation. If they ask you to pay tax, you will come to this studio and say government have started again, they are taxing us, so we don't want to pay. You do riot.
But the core part of the tax was introduced, January this year, January 1st.
I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
You will shout and say, government says you should pay tax. If you say, okay, don't pay tax, where is the other source? the one that is coming from oil, that even those people, even when they are not okay, they are still agitating that they are not using it for their community. So at the end of the day, the money from the oil and taxation is supposed to finance our economy to do more of these things that you're talking about. So if these two add together, it's not enough to finance your budget. What do you go? You borrow. So when we start borrowing, you see shout and say government is borrowing. What do we really want? And I want to tell you, the beauty of it is, if I must live conveniently in my house, I will have to determine that, am I going to wait until I'm 70 before I use LCD, liquid crystal display of TV that you call TV? Okay. Or should I continue to use the television, old television like, and still be on my whatever the income? So if I want my life to be easier now, I need to now look beyond my income. Then I'll create another income line. If it is not possible, then I'll go and borrow. And I'll give you an example. If I want to do business of selling pure water, if I rely on my salary, say 100,000 per month, how many of this business will I be able to do and make it? But if I can say, okay, my 100,000 for like 2 months, let me put it down, go to the other side, get 1 million, and now 1.2 million. The business I would do now will be bigger. The expenditure profile will be reduced because of the economic of scale. Then the income, the profit that will come will be bigger. Then I can achieve what I wouldn't have been able to achieve in a short period unless I wait for no. So when you borrow, it should aid your development on time. Now you have problem when you borrow and you now start say, okay, Godwin, I've borrowed money I wanted to use to start my pure water business, and I now go to the beer parlor in the night, carry ladies, guys, oh yeah, let's go and spend money. That money, I'm spending it unwisely. Then the productivity will not come. It will not turn around in economy. Then I will now be in the burden of repayment of this loan. And I start selling my properties to the free. So that is the problem we have with bad debt, bad public debt. So if government say, okay, we want to build Shagam or a road, we need a lot of money. Our tax is not enough to do that road, to build that road. So let us borrow. When we borrow, when we make our money small, we'll be repaying it. When it's time that we cannot, do we call it reschedule? We negotiate and we get no matter. So if that as money is invested in it, there won't be a problem. Now let me stretch it further. The problem I have with Nigerian public debt is, if you are in South Korea, 100-meter road can be built with just, let's say, 1 billion naira. Let's say $1 billion. The same 100-meter with the same topography, if you come to Nigeria, they may say it's 30 billion, which means ab initio, certain set of people must have built in their own economic extortion into it. That's why the value of debt that you are getting is not in tandem with the value that debt will give you when it is put into.
But how come the government cannot establish, or put in place mechanisms that can put a stop to that?
Yes, I can bet with you that they put it. But learn one thing today, that antivirus you produced yesterday will no longer be able to quarantine or remove or delete virus they produce today. Can I say it again?
That is true.
Antivirus is a program written to quarantine, remove, and delete viruses. As at the time you are writing it yesterday, you can only write to kill the virus that you know. If another person produce, virus is also a program. Now, if another person produce virus today, he has taken care of all your shenanigans in your own antivirus, and he will do above that. That's why you renew. So government has it. That's why they have EFCC, ICBC, crime, whatever. But as they are inputting it, Nigerians are also wise. Those in bad shape are also getting wiser. So they are always one way or the other above such system. That's why system is also improving itself. So that's the way. Okay,
beyond the infrastructure, the roads that we can see, can Nigerians also feel, the benefit of this money that we are borrowing in other sectors, in other areas, like health, like education, and even other sectors?
We are always quick to listen to the word debt. We don't read the details. Whenever they are going to the National Assembly to seek approval for that debt, they always attach so many documents, but we don't read it. When they wanted approval of 2-point-something trillion, they will specify what they want to use it for.
The senators, the lawmakers, do they even read the documents?
Do they even show it to people that will read? Because I was back when Taiwo Idele was educating them that they were saying when you say agency have surpassed their...
We are going to watch that video.
They have surpassed their, what do you call it? Their
revenue target.
Wow, we see borrowing. The same government that they are into. And he explained to them, unless you want me to re-echo it here, that if agency A say we are going to give you 70 million, agency B say we are going to give you 60 million, and they are able to give 75 and 65, they have achieved more than their budget now. However, this money, when you had 65 and 75 together, how much is it? Then what is the problem we have in the country? Is the totality of the two enough to us to do what we want to do? You know one thing, when you are in school, if they say everybody come and do registration today, do you know every one of you want to queue and be attempted to immediately? The culture of say, okay, let's queue will not be there. Now, government is saying so projects approved by FEC. The next thing you will see in comments is that, what about our own territory? Everybody wanted it at the same time. Because this is a government. You may also say, okay, if you want to do 100 kilometer, okay, let's do it across the geopolitical zone. Not, okay, which one should we do first? In fact, politically, if I'm a Yoruba and I'm the president, I don't want other tribe to say I'm only doing in Yoruba. I want to say, okay, let's do for them in this tribe. Let's do for them in this tribe. Let's come to my own tribe. At the end of the day, you now need money immediately to do this thing, and it won't work.
Professor, okay, I think according to you now, because despite meeting the targets, the revenue target, we still need to borrow, even according to the financing, to the Minister of Finance now. But then there's this law, the law of diminishing returns. It states that as more and more of a commodity is consumed, utility will increase up to a certain point, while decrease in utility will set in as a result of continuous consumption of the same product. Now we enjoy satisfaction from borrowing. Yes, we're able to meet our target, but once we borrow, we can smile because why? We are able to cater to our budget. At what point will this satisfaction, become a burden on Nigerians?
We are not satisfied yet. So the law of diminishing return will not work. We are not satisfied yet. That's why we still keep borrowing. If we are satisfied with the borrowing, unless you want to say, okay, we have a leverage to where we can go when we don't have money from us, okay? The body is already there, because if you listen to Minister of Finance very well, he was saying that even this money you are saying this current government borrowed, they have not borrowed it. They have not assessed it. They are only refinancing what our forefather, previous governments borrowed.
Can you explain the concept of refinancing? Because a lot of Nigerians don't understand.
Okay, so maybe for the sake of argument, the previous governments borrowed like, let's say 10 million naira. Okay. Upon now, we are still having up to half of it, let's say 5 million naira that we have not paid. But the time is already expired. The terms is that you pay. So we can now go and renegotiate that we don't have this money. Take it as a loan now, another loan. Okay, let me use us. I need to buy textbook, 10,000 naira. And I say, please, can you borrow me 10,000 naira? I'll give you by month when I collect salary. So by the time I collected my salary, another problem is already coming. And I want you to relate it to Nigeria. So every other thing comes up. The money I have is no longer enough for me to pay the balance of your 10,000. I can come and meet you and say, you know what, that out of the 10,000 I borrow, take 5,000. The remaining 5,000, take it as a new loan for another 1 month. That's refinancing with the structure.
So that has worsened the situation for Nigerians.
That's what we have been doing. It's not as if, that's why they are saying, wait for some time, they will release, and you will now see who is at fault.
So if we are experiencing that, can we not cut costs in a way?
Now, by the time they cut costs, it will now affect you. Why will it affect you? They're supposed to also build your road, maternity, and they say, let's stop. You will now start shouting because it's not, we are in democracy, not in military era. A military that can do anything they like, and they say, this is where we want to. We want to do Tomiland Bridge, and nobody complain. But this time around, try it and say you want to build Lagos Ibadan. Kano, Zaria will also stand up and say they want their own. That's why you now have multiplicity of commission. Niger Delta Commission was the only one. Arewa has for their own. South also has for their own. Western something has for their own. Where do they get money to do all this? The same purse is where they will now finance, because everybody wanted to collect their own.
Before we go on a short break, I want you to respond to this. And then, according to Paul Alaji, that's Chief Economist, SPM Professionals, he said 80 trillion naira Tinubu borrowing is not nominal, but a result of naira devaluation. Can you explain that? Okay,
so what he's saying is that the money that you are attributing that they borrow is not actually how much they borrow, but as a result of changes in some economic activities or terms. I'll give you this example. I needed 10,000. I will be using 10,000 naira so that you will be able to pay me by the time you collect your salary. So I obtained successfully 10,000 naira from you when dollar was 160 naira per dollar. So and that amount is reflecting on dollar. So if you look at how much of dollar will that 10,000 naira be, whatever it is, I don't know it, whatever it is, I now want to repay when dollar is now 1,300. So if I change 1,300, assuming it was okay, let me use dollar so that it will be easier to shout. I obtained $10,000 from you when dollar was 160 naira. I've spent dollar during that period 160. Now dollar is 1,400. So if I want to pay you now, I will need how much? 10,000 times 100 and something. That's what I will need. Whereas at the time I borrowed it, it was 160 times $10,000. So I will now go and calculate and say $10,000 times 1,400. That's about 14 million or thereabouts. Whereas it's supposed to be like 160,000. So the value we are recording now is actually because of the denomination of naira. And somebody will ask me, why do we need to devalue? And I'll tell them two sides to the story. If you are an international student that want to travel and pay $13,000 in UK for your MSc, as of today, you will need 1,400 times, if it is dollar, 1,400 times $13,000. However, if they crash dollar to like 500 naira, you will need 500 naira times 13,000, which is easier for you. Now, for those people that have dollar, the same dollar in their own purse, will they pray that they crash the dollar? So we are only talking based on what is convenient for you. If I have $1,000 in my pocket, it means I have 1,400,000. If you pray that they should crash the dollar to something, it means I will have lesser. So the denomination is not the same. And people that is affecting will be praying that it should not affect them. People that want it will be praying. So for government, if you have a budget and the deficit is 1 trillion, whatever, and you look at how the exchange rate will affect this. So if I have dollar increase to 2,000, government will receive such amounts in dollar and it is enough to cover this budget. But if you reduce the dollar into like 500, it will not be enough for them to finance the budget. And people don't talk about this. Let me say it one more time. Your brother in US sent $10,000 to you. You will change it into times 1,400. But if you crash this 1,400 into like, let the dollar be sold for 500 naira, you will get less than half of that money. You will not like it. Even you that you are a citizen. So it's easier to come to the television and start talking. Okay, should that not tell us that we need to be careful or even borrow less? I mean, if that is a factor. Borrow less. Borrow less.
Or maybe not even borrow at all.
If you don't borrow, no problem. We will not base our development on the taxation and oil revenue that we have, which is not enough. That's exactly the thing I've been painting. I want to buy food for my house or I want to do anything that will make life of my family to be okay. But my salary this month cannot. I will go and borrow now. Do it now.
Are you saying Nigeria will keep borrowing for God knows where?
Even individual, you and I will keep borrowing. Unless you have the money that is coming from illegitimate level. We will keep borrowing. We are borrowing. Our parents borrow. Unless you are not telling anybody, we are also borrowing. If you go and buy phone from Easy Buy, what are you doing? If they send gold to you and say, don't worry, you can pay 12 months, what is the meaning of that?
So there's no hope for this country. That's what you're saying.
No. Don't interpret it locally.
Okay.
Go everywhere in the whole world. Is there any country that doesn't have debt profile? The only difference between us is our ability to reason and do the right thing. I just told you, if I want to borrow to build Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, what is the actual amount of money that I need? Let's not add 10% of Eguje. Let's not add facilitation fee onto it before you borrow. But you are borrowing to build road where you are also expecting kickback. Then you are mortgaging our future into that, because our children will be the one to come and pay for those unnecessary things that you have collected because you want to facilitate. So we need to, if you want this road to be tarred, how much tax in this environment can do that road? Let's even talk to about your state, the Yaganku road here. The amount of money they will use to tar this road, nobody can pay it within this environment 1 year as a tax. So what are we talking about? I think we need to educate ourselves more. If they dig drainage, that your community, how much can you contribute to tax that will be enough?
But Professor, there should be a way out. There are other countries who used to borrow. I remember 1974-75, UK was also borrowing.
How can you say you remember? They told you.
No, I read about it. So I remember I read about it. So there should be a way out.
Are you saying UK does not have debt?
I'm not saying they do not have now, but they should be, in terms of productivity, can we begin to compare ourselves with UK, US? I mean, recently, United States released a statement to say we are going to cut the aids that we are giving to Nigeria. I mean, if you don't have enough, if you're not buoyant enough, you'll be giving aids to other countries.
You are right. But this same United States that is cutting aid, they're also still borrowing. Let's read completely. Let's not just isolate. Go, just search what is the debt profile of the United States and compare it to their GDP and compare our own. UK, compare. Why is Bukola Beckham, whatever, is shouting every day?
Kemi, Bednock. Okay.
Why is he shouting? Why is he saying bad governance? Have you ever heard us saying good thing about UK? The way we are also doing bad thing about our country. So what I'm saying is that apart from the fact that it's you and I that have representative over there, we should talk to our representative because they are the one there. When you want to borrow to make our life easier. You can't say they should not borrow. And it's not criminal to borrow.
It's not criminal to borrow. Okay.
Name one company in this country and I will tell you their capital structure. According to finance, capital structure means the way and manner in which company or corporate organization are financed. And it's just two means, equity and debt. Equity means the money the owner of the business brought to the business. Debt is what you go and borrow by calling for every other loan, debenture and the likes. Even the companies. Name one company that you know that is doing well and let us check their balance sheet. You will see that you have credit side, we have debit side. It is when that owner of that company is now borrowing, instead of him or her to spend money to do the business well, is now taking first class, business class, private jet from the money he borrowed. That's when it's
bad. That what Nigeria is doing?
That's exactly what we are doing. Just take it. Because why will you want to borrow money and I see you, only one person is invited to this studio and I'm coming with 10 cars to follow me?
Okay, we need to take a short break, and when we come back, we still have quite a number of things to talk about, especially the tax system, that was initiated, January 1st, 2026. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. We'll be back after the short break.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
Welcome back from that short video. I see you have with me Professor Godwin Emmanuel. And then before we went to that short video, we were talking about if there's a way out or not. But before I ask him my next question, I'd love us to take a look at the video where the finance minister was explaining the reason why we keep borrowing, from international organizations. Let's watch the video.
Revenue, NRS exceeding revenue, custom service exceeding revenue. Where is all this money going and why are we still borrowing? And it's a very important question. Important because we have a lot of needs as a country. When we take our budget and let's say it's 10 naira, that is the amount we want to spend, including personnel costs, running government, paying debt service, and building infrastructure. It's 10 naira. We look at all our numbers and we say we can generate 6 naira. 6 naira is our revenue target. Our expenditure is 10. If we end up generating revenue of 7 naira, we will say we have exceeded our revenue target. It's not a lie. But we still need 3 naira to balance the budget because we need to spend 10. So this is the reason why both can coexist. Government can exceed revenue target and still have to borrow. And in terms of where the money is going, this is one of the analyses we are working on in the Ministry of Finance. Very soon we're going to be able to release it, putting numbers to it. But just to give a couple of examples.
Professor, welcome back. So how do we, because I think you've even spoken about the video before we actually watched it now, but then how do we improve our productivity? How do we improve our revenue in terms of what is coming in? Because even as we speak now, NRS custom service exceeding revenue, but still we need to borrow. So what do we do? Okay,
so the issue is this. If you are collecting 100,000 per month as a salary, you must reduce your expenditure to cater for your family to that 100,000 below it.
So that means Nigeria should cut costs.
If you are cutting costs, that's where the problem now comes. I just told you about political issue. Nigeria is generating 7, like he said. Let us just say no extra budget, no deficit. It is this 7. So how do we share this 7 across 36 states plus federal capital?
But what if we are able to
grow?
But according to you, let me go back to your words now. You said there are some persons who decide to inflate the amount, maybe for road construction, for projects and things like that. What if we're able to, eradicate that? Can it add up? Can it add up?
It will add up, but it will not be significant. It will add up. So what I'm saying about that is that you will have trust in government if you know that by the time they are seeking approval for external borrowing, and they say, okay, we need $10,000 loan from IMF. Out of this 10,000, we are going to use 2,000 to build Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. You attach the billing cost or whatever they call it in their construction. We want to build 10 hospitals. You attach the bill of quantity to it. We all check. Everybody see it in Nigeria. So okay, even if I'm the one that I'm a contractor, but I'm not working for government, if I want to build this road, this is the amount is correct. Then we have trust in government. And by the time the money is in the purse, you do not divert it to go and solve another problem. Another problem is that some people decided to build beside the road, beside the waterway. And we want them not to build there, but they said the land is cheap. By the time the erosion comes, they will not go, and one television station will just put it with the camera on their face. Government, help us, oh. Government is not doing anything for us, but they are the one that couldn't go and build where there's no water. Government will now put their hands in whatever they have to diverting. Those are the kind of things that create trouble, because these are not FCH. Even if they are FCH that is in Commonwealth or whatever the accounts, special duty, whatever, it's still one of the draining of our resources. So if any force majeure, anything happen, banditry, you know how much we are budgeting for that. They said when they shoot one bullet is how much? One bullet. RPG, how much is it?
So insecurity is also a factor.
It will be a factor. And who is breeding it? I'm so sorry to say it, but it's politician. It's politician. And I'm saying it. Why am I saying this? It's because people are doing this because they want to gain power.
So are you saying Kokoro to therefore?
That's therefore
okay.
it continue to be. So that is it. And they use it as weapon to unseat any other government that they want to unseat. As you can see, you can no longer manage the country again. Can you leave? When you leave, when they get there, when is it time for another election, you see this something. Then the government will be budgeting what they should use to build the road to secure the bushes and the likes. So if all sincerity is put on table, no inflated contract, no kickback, we will now know what we look at the train that they use borrowing money for. There's no train again. Who carry it? Is it government? Is it your people? Is it our people? They pack it, they remove. You can imagine Nigerians removing rails.
Very, very quickly, let's talk about the tax system because of time now, because we need to go now. Till this morning, there's still low public awareness in terms of what people need to do. You know, the business owners, I mean, the salary earners. I remember Mr. Tawe was moving from one TV station to another, yet a lot of persons could not understand. Even him at some point, I'm sure he was tired because, I mean, the questions kept coming. Where are we currently? Are we seeing any progress?
You know, Yoruba will say you can only wake somebody that is sleeping. You cannot wake somebody that is pretending that they are sleeping. Nigerians are very intelligent. Don't say they are. Which other public awareness do you want again? I move around also as if I was paid. I write every time. But let somebody just put WhatsApp chats that will negate the present government. Everybody will read it.
What about those who do not even have access to all this kind of things? I mean,
who
the
are those
market
people?
Women.
Give me those people and I will tell you the problem.
The market women.
Market women. What tax are they supposed to pay?
I mean, are they not supposed to understand it?
You know, you can't give what you don't have. You cannot also get what you don't deserve.
Okay, what about the young ones who do not understand the jargon?
Please give me the range and I will tell you.
Terms. I mean, I've seen people who
Madam, please let's clear it so that you don't also continue in this manner.
Okay.
What is the age of those people that you're saying young ones? Please give me the age range.
I mean, I've seen people in their 30s.
No, give me the age range.
In their 30s. Who really do not understand.
If you are in 30s,
the terms.
Did you have phone? How did you, do you know we don't read manual to operate phone again? How did you, I see 30s that are talking about on TikTok every day. How did you know how to, I can still not operate TikTok because it's not my line.
Are you saying the government have done enough in terms of explaining to people?
They can't do enough, but the enough, who taught me? They don't have interest.
Well, it's your field.
Madam, it's their field. If you are doing business, you must profile in this studio. Why did you go and register with Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation? Because it's a requirement. Don't your guard read the requirement before you started the business? No, now. Ignorance of law is not an excuse, but you must also seek to be educated. Who were carrying rumors of say they want to tax us and they carry placard and they all went to school, graduates. The law is written in English. And when even Bible says when you lack wisdom, you seek it. And you are doing it all the time. So you cannot be counting yourself as part of this people that don't have this information.
No, I mean, I'm a broadcaster. I listen to people. I mean, people tweet, people ask questions, even from people like us to say, can you explain?
Do you know during this period, this Oyedele I will also keep posting, and they are reading. But some will not read that because it's not the way they want to open their body for free and be doing it online. People go to where it matters to them. So it is not my problem that they don't want to learn, and I will not kill them to learn. No. If I'm doing business and I'm making money, and I need to make money, I will do it because I need to do it.
But Prof, are we seeing progress?
We're in progress. We're in progress because really? This thing is just like we have 100% in Nigeria. 20% are affected by certain law. These 20% are now recruiting the remaining 80% that don't have any business to go and disrupt the law. And this law will make us to get money from 20% to take care of 80%. But they are recruiting 80% into this. How do they recruit them? By pushing out information. The same level of information these 20% are pushing out to 80 is the same level of information government is pushing out to the 100%. But they choose not to answer government because of the fact that they said they don't want this government.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave it. But you said that we are making progress. And then I remember when you were answering one of my questions, you said the tax is not even enough. And that's why we still need to pause.
Because this government has removed virtually all these market women from paying taxes. So why would they say they are not aware? Have you ever seen tax authority going to them to collect money? Tell me which of the market you have seen tax authority collecting money.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave this discussion.
We'll continue some other time, because the discussion must continue.
Right. Good governance is not about avoiding debt. It is about ensuring that every debt creates value for generations to come. As the conversation around Nigeria's debt continues, one thing is clear. Understanding the figures requires more than reading the numbers. It demands context, accountability, and informed public discourse. My sincere appreciation to Professor Godwin Emmanuel Yedokun.